I'm John Foro. I'm here at Book Expo America with Brandon Stanton, author of Humans of New York and the forthcoming book, Little Humans. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So your first book, Humans of New York, was a huge success, a big #1 bestseller. Could you talk about the genesis of that book and how it came out of your blog?
Right. Well, yeah, the book just kind of, evolved naturally from the blog. The whole evolution of Humans of New York, I always say it wasn't the result of kind of like an idea that I had that I went out and executed. It just kind of started from a love of photography, me just going around the streets every day and just kind of shooting out of love and then kind of gravitating towards people. And then, resulting from hundreds of tiny evolutions, from that to where I started taking portraits of people on the street. And then I started writing little captions, then deeper interviews. So the Humans of New York that eventually became a book, which is, a collection of photos of strangers on the street with kind of Oprah-like interviews with them on the spot. Was the result of, a bunch of tiny evolutions and not a fully formed idea, right?
So the new book is all about kids, right? And
Little Humans, yeah. Well, it's, one of the most popular group of photos on the blog, and I think one of the things that makes Humans of New York special is that there's a lot of great kid portraits on there. And so, Little Humans is a collection of, 30 of my best kid portraits with a little narrative attached. It's a little different than Humans of New York because Humans of New York is the people in their own words, whereas in here with Little Humans, I've paired, 30 of my best kids images with a little narrative about what it's like and what it is to be a little human, and it came out quite charmingly, yeah.
When you approach people on the street,
right.
What is your strategy? What
Right.
techniques do you use to talk to strangers and get them to allow you to take their picture?
And I always joke that my technique and my process just kind of was chiseled into me through just being rejected by thousands and thousands and thousands of people until I finally, just through sheer trauma and just, pain, have honed it into what it is now. And, what it involves is when I approach a stranger on the street, I find it really has nothing to do with what I say. When I first started, I was always trying to explain my project in the perfect way, and now I've realized it really has nothing to do with that. It's all about just how calm you are and the energy that you're giving off. A lot of times I'll say nothing more than, do you mind if I take your photo? But it's about doing it in a very non-threatening, conversational way, and just being comfortable with the fact that no matter how you do it, at least 1 out of 3 people are going to say no, and just not internalize that and just keep moving, yeah.
How is it different when you're approaching children, and do you have to deal with bubbles of security from their parents?
Yeah, what I do is I don't even look at the child. When I want to take a photograph of a child, I always walk straight up to the adult. I don't even make eye contact with the child, and then I deal with them first. I explain to them what I'm doing, then I ask for permission, and then once they give me permission, then I forget the adult and only focus on the child. So it's like a 2-step process. Don't pay attention to the child until you get permission from the parent, and then once you get permission from the parent, don't pay attention to the parent, and then just get on the ground and then make it an interaction between you and the child. Yeah.
So now that everybody has a digital camera and everybody is always taking thousands of pictures,
right.
There are just millions of bad photographs of children. What would you say is the one piece of advice you could give to
Get on the ground. Yeah, it's the easiest thing in the world. Take the picture from the child's perspective. The easiest, if there's one thing I do that I think, gives me an advantage is I have no problem laying on the street. Laying on the street, everybody else is like, oh, do you know what's down there? This is New York City. And it's just like, I don't think about it. I just when I'm photographing a kid, I'm always on the ground. And that way you're kind of in their world, yeah.
How much time do you spend walking around taking pictures?
It's kind of as I've honed my ability, I guess. That time has gotten smaller and smaller because I know what I'm doing now more, and so it takes less time. I would say I go out for about 2 hours every day now, yeah.
And so after Little Humans, what's the next evolution of the project?
There is in October 2015. I'm really excited. It's the second adult book. And I don't even really like to call it a sequel because, I was discussing with you earlier, what's exciting to me is that Humans of New York has changed so much that the blog as it is now is almost unrecognizable from the book. It's become much more about storytelling. It's been, the photos have got a lot more intimate. The people, the range of people have kind of tightened, whereas if you look at the first book, it's very colorful, eccentric, full body shots of people. Now they're very tight shots of more ordinary looking people, but I spend a lot of time with those people and I get very long stories. So the second book's going to be much less about photography and much more about storytelling. And you know, I'm excited about the opportunity to create a completely new book out of Humans of New York.
All right, look forward to it.
Thanks,
For
John.
coming.
Yeah.